Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Jefferson Madrinks podcast, the pod on a mission to normalise 8-team leagues. I'm Pete McManus. This is the Week 4 preview episode, and I'm delighted to announce the band are back together again. I'm joined by not only Ian Harrison, but also Hallam Monk from his 3-week hiatus. How are you?
Good day. I'm very well. How are you, boys?
Yeah, I'm very good. I think we're like 3 weeks into the NFL season, and I feel like I know a hell of a lot less than I knew 3 weeks ago.
Oh, God, yeah. There's some big shocks so far, I think.
It's been an odd start, I think.
Yeah. I can't begin to explain how enthusiastic I've been about recording tonight.
You did mention you weren't feeling very well.
I am also under the weather, to be fair. But like, even if it was fully fit, I've had to really convince myself to turn up for this one.
See, this is where I can say you guys knew full well that I was like really ill, because I missed a week in which the Texans beat the Colts, and I also missed, I think it was the same week actually, where Ian stated the Patriots would be 0-17 and got beat and beat the Bengals. So that's where you know I'm not well, because I've not been able to even mention that. But here we are. I'm glad to be back.
I'll tell you what, you can do your own power rankings next year.
So last week, Ian, you mentioned that the Bengals are going to put up 50 points on the Commanders, which ironically you would have needed the best part of 50 points to win that game.
Yeah.
So, but
to be honest,
it didn't quite happen, did it?
We didn't turn the ball over. So had our defense actually bothered turning up, everyone under the Trey Hendrickson and Logan Wilson looked good. Other than that, and Jermaine Pratt looked all right. Like, had our defense actually got us a couple of stops, the 50 was on.
Yeah. I saw a stat earlier that, so it was on Twitter, so I don't know how much you can trust it, and I don't really believe it, but it was something along the lines of, in the last 10 years, the 129 teams or something have started, it must have been more than 10 years, 129 teams have started 0-3, and only one of them has gone on to make the playoffs.
Oh, yes, the Texans.
And I find that hard to believe that a team hasn't started 0-3 and made the playoffs, because teams do get hot, but that's not a great position to be working from, is it?
No, and the thing is, like, week 1 was horrendous. Everything went wrong against the Patriots. Week 2, we were robbed by the Chiefs. Like, we played really well against them. We probably should have won that one, and everything kind of felt like it was clicking. And last night was just a horror show from RD. I mean, we're missing BJ Hill and Sheldon Rankins, our two defensive tackles. We just got run on for fun. We dropped an extra man into the box to try and bring some pressure through the lines, and it just gave Jaden Daniels all the time in the world to pick us apart.
Yeah,
like we need to trade for a DT as soon as possible.
Yeah, Sheldon Rankins was a massive miss for us last year. I think we missed him for 2 games, and it kills us. But it's amazing how important the tackles are, and I think Pete, you'll probably see the worst side of this soon, because you've just had Thingy put on IR, haven't you? What's his name?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, it's not fun.
No. The Colts isn't a lot of fun. I'm going to be honest. I know you've just got 0-3 in, but the bits I saw of the Colts, I was like, I don't know how we really won that game, and it didn't fill me with any joy or enthusiasm moving forward. Other than Jonathan Taylor being back to being Jonathan Taylor, that was about all we could have taken from that.
Caleb Williams being Caleb Williams, isn't it?
Yeah.
The strip sack was
every week. So
cancelled his touchdowns out with 2 interceptions as well. Yeah. I mean, I did watch some of that, and I'm not yet feeling sorry for him, because I think he's a bell end, but his O-line is horrific.
Yeah.
The strip sack was good, Pete.
In terms of balance, like, I do have to admit, his O-line's letting him down massively.
The bit I couldn't understand.
I am enjoying it.
I mean, the O-line aside, the bit I couldn't understand was we'd just given up 400 and odd yards rushing in 2 weeks, and they let him throw the ball 50 50 something times. I was like, you might want to try running on us. So
and I've got DeAndre Swift in so many teams.
yeah, DeAndre Swift.
It amazes me with the Bears because they have 3 running backs that are actually capable, and none of them are getting the ball at the minute.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's like
just a bit bizarre.
They are determined to keep feeding Caleb Williams to get him into some kind of form, so they can turn around to the world and go, "Yeah, it was worth it."
But I mean,
go on.
Go on, Pete. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I stand by what I said at the beginning of the year, and that I think Caleb Williams is talented. I think they've got a good roster, and Matt Eberflus is not the man to lead them. It's
100%. See, this is literally what I was just about to say. You just need to see the fact that Justin Fields actually looks like an NFL quarterback to know that the system that was being used with the Bears isn't quite right for certain quarterbacks. I mean, Matt Eberflus has a good sort of record as an offensive coordinator, but this system just isn't working at all. And I think it's the time for that change because the roster they have should be far better than it is.
He's more of a coordinator. He just has more of a coordinator vibe about him. Like, just let him go away and do his thing. He's just not a leader. He just doesn't strike me as a leader.
Yeah.
So,
however, with the Bears, when Keenan Allen's back, he's getting spammed.
Yeah,
I don't know. And Dune's played well. And Dune's the few weeks that I've seen, he seems to be creating a lot of space, which is probably why he was the main target this week. I think he got more targets than DJ Moore. He got more yards than DJ Moore. So Keenan Allen needs to be back though.
A lot of it does seem to be deep down the field. It's like they need Keenan Allen to just come in and have 10 targets underneath 10 yards, 15 yards, just trying to like slowly move the offense down the field and get him a little bit of confidence, I think, to then open it up for a Doomsday or whoever.
One thing, go on, sorry.
Before we started the season, who had the Vikings and Steelers going a combined 6-0?
Oh, God. I don't think anyone did.
It just blows my mind.
No, I'd love to see retrospective odds on that happening.
Yeah.
You go back and see what the odds were on that happening at any given time in the preseason.
It's not. I mean, there's only 5 or 6 teams unbeaten. Not even that now. After the weekend, four teams without, and you would have got good odds on them being 2 of them.
No, sorry, it's 5. It's the Chiefs, Seahawks, Vikings, Bills, Steelers.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Incredible.
Yeah, they do look. They I mean, the Steelers don't exactly look good, but they're just getting defensively. They look very good, but as per usual, but they're just getting the job done. But the Vikings, what a coaching job that is.
Yeah,
absolutely. They were just every phase of the game they were better than us. And considering the Texans were supposedly one of the big teams to beat this year, we got absolutely destroyed from literally ball one. Yeah, just
that's how good Joe Mixon is.
Yeah,
no Joe Mixon, no party, mate.
Yeah, we didn't have a run game again. I also think there was a few really bad play calls, but it happens. Offensive coordinators don't get it right all the time, so it is what it is. But the pressure that Brian Flores and that defense put on us was just immense, and it also proves that Brian Flores deserves a job in the NFL as well, because that was some job. I mean, they put pressure on us pretty much every play, and there was loads of sacks, and it was Grenard as well, who we let go in free agency. So bit of a killer.
Revenge.
Yeah.
Did either of you see the Jets Patriots on Thursday night?
No.
Or the highlights
I didn't have it in me to drag my ass out of bed for that.
No, it wasn't a great game, but Aaron Rodgers looked like he was back to being Aaron Rodgers.
Come off me.
You've got
throw in the end zone.
I can only comment on what you see in front of you.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
The positive thing for the Jets is he was moving around. He spent 2 weeks not moving off a spot, and not doing anything and just handing the ball off to Breece Hall. And then on Thursday night, it was almost as if he got all of his confidence back and he's got his movement back. And he's never been a rushing quarterback, has he? But he was moving around and making plays. So
yeah, I never thought I'd hear that statement. Like Aaron Rodgers has got his confidence back. When did he lose it?
Good point. Good point. Confidence in his Achilles, maybe.
Do you want to hear my theory about the Steelers?
Yeah, go for it.
Russell Wilson isn't injured. They're just saying he is because they're going to rock with Fields. He doesn't want them to embarrass him.
I thought Wilson was on the backup now, and they've said that they're not going to give it. I thought they said they're not going to give Russell Wilson the starting job because of the job that Fields has done the first 2 games.
Well, they still got him as injured.
My bad.
He's been dressing as the emergency quarterback, hasn't he?
So I think that's what it'll be.
He's panning up. My theory is he's not injured. He was for the first game. Fields won. They kept Fields in, and they told the world that Russell Wilson's still injured, just to not publicly embarrass him.
Maybe he just looks injured because he's not very good. So, like in practice, he's throwing the ball around. They're like, he must be injured because didn't he win MVP one year? Like, he's won a Super Bowl. He can't be that bad.
With the injury, Pete, does the pickup of Justin Fields make sense to you now, or is it still one that flabbergasts? Yeah,
I stand by everything I said and it actually makes even less sense now because they've picked up Justin Fields. As it stands, if it carries on like this, the 6th round pick is going to turn into a 4th round pick. And guess what? He's not under contract next year. So all that's happening.
Not yet.
31 other teams are looking at that going, and most of whom need a quarterback because the quarterback play across the league is terrible. And Justin Fields is going to end up getting loads of good offers. It's that bit. Yeah. It's that bit that I couldn't understand. Like, pay him, extend him somehow, give him a contract. Otherwise, you're going to make him look good and then end up losing him and be back to square one.
Yeah, I don't think he'd sign an extension without any kind of guarantee that he's going to be QB1 over Russell Wilson.
No.
I think they could offer him one tomorrow, but he wouldn't sign it.
Yeah, but Wilson's done at the end of this year with them anyway.
Yeah.
But that was a 1-year loan as well.
Yeah, they have to pick one.
Move quickly. Things move so quickly in the NFL. He's won 3 games now, and they try and negotiate with him now, his agent will be like, "Well, he's on fire. You need him." He's suddenly worth 5 times what he was worth 3 games ago.
Yeah. Who's his agent? Is it Tommy DeVito's agent? 5 times the amount.
5 times. I can't believe we've got 13 minutes into this podcast and you haven't mentioned Andy Dalton yet.
He's on my list, mate. What a guy!
I thought you would have had your Dalton top on. I fully expected a full-on Red Rifle Renaissance chat tonight.
I actually gave my Dalton shirt away to a new Bengals fan. You both know him, so I don't have that anymore. Otherwise, I would have worn it. But that was like the absolute worst case scenario for Bryce Young. You get dropped, and then Andy Dalton goes out and does that.
It wasn't just that, though. It was the fact that O-line didn't give up a sack. The running when
Andy Dalton's all over the place, he's slippery.
Yeah, did you know? Right, so Chuba Hubbard got a 100-yard game in his career, which is I think he's into his 4th season now. He's only had 3 others and puts up 100 yards rushing. Like that isn't down to Bryce Young or Andy Dalton. That's just a complete,
That's the thing. When teams are terrified of the QB, they drop deeper into coverage, don't they? Andy Dalton terrifies defenses.
The thing is,
and I should be saying this because he's playing us next week.
Yeah, the Bryce Young thing it's like last week. It was he's had a terrible start to his career. Things just couldn't get worse for him. And then Andy Dalton comes in and throws 3 touchdowns in about 7 minutes. You're like, actually, things just got considerably worse. He must have been stood on the sideline going, "What am I doing here?" So,
but the Panthers have said like he's going to be back starting at some point this season. How can you say that?
So did you see the Alex? And I know that Mel Kiper had his rant, but Alex Smith actually said the same thing as well, and he said it's down to really poor mismanagement, and he agrees with the fact that Bryce should come back as QB1 because he'll learn more from basically being benched. which he has. But I mean, if Dalton keeps cooking, you can't drop him, surely.
No, absolutely not.
So on to fantasy, quarter 2. Who's done it for you this week? Let's start with you, Ian. You need give us some positives.
Sam Darnold, H1 wants to hear it, but 17 of 28, 181
Good.
yards, four touchdowns.
Yeah.
Against the Texans defense, which is actually pretty decent.
He's
It's a
playing
great
well.
performance. And he did it without all of his receivers because Addison was out too.
Well, not all of them.
Yeah, he still has some guy called Jefferson in his team.
Yeah. And you got to remember, like, the Vikings are 3-0 and Hawkinson's not played a snap yet. He's still got to come back.
Yeah. Do you know the one thing the one positive I did take out of this weekend is when you look at the NFL UK London games, it like a couple of weeks ago, it really looked like they tried to send us the worst possible. They really tried to ruin those games. And then now Jets Vikings is looking like a decent game. So at least, I mean, the Jags are in the other two, so they still look terrible. But at least one of the three looks like it might be a good game now.
Yeah, I still don't fancy that Germany game though.
No,
you can poke that.
They took the only good game to Brazil, and then it's one of those things. Once you've had a few games, it's like, oh yeah, it's just some rubbish that we can send over to you. But they didn't expect Vikings and Jets to be as good as they are. And the Jets fans we know going to the game definitely won't have been expecting the Vikings to be potentially 4-0 when they arrive in London.
Yeah.
H, do you want to add one?
It's time to get back on the train, boys, isn't it? For me,
Dallas got it. Dallas got it, isn't it?
Dallas got it. Yeah. So just for context on this one, I'm in a lot of my leagues. I'm missing George Kittle this week, and I had to go into the waivers. And I looked at Dallas Goedert and thought, well, they've not got AJ Brown this week. It might be maybe a shot. 10 receptions for 170 yards, 27 points. You're laughing if that's your tight end. So yeah, Dallas got it. Back on the hype train with me. I'm all in. Pick up in every league.
Dallas Goedert is a prime example of someone who, if they've got all of their options, he's not going to score any points.
Yeah.
As soon as you take one out, and obviously Smith went out partway through the game, it's like he became the main weapon. It's like suddenly, and they had to throw. They weren't, they weren't exactly trailing, but it was a tight game for a lot of it. He's a good shout, and I just don't know how long that train's going to keep rolling for, mate.
Hey, I'm all in. If they're missing AJ Brown and or Smith this week, then yeah, it's not a bad pickup. But one thing that I will say is as well, like if the Falcons want a tape of how to use Kyle Pitts, just watch that game, because at the minute Pitts is still just not doing as much as we all thought he probably would with the quarterback. And have a look at that tape.
No,
is it time to give up on Pitts now then?
I've got him in one of our leagues, and I didn't target him. I just ended up with him because everybody else had gone. And I'm not ready to give up. I'm going to give him a couple more weeks. They've got a couple of games coming up where you're like, this is his moment. I think the biggest problem is, or the reason I'm giving him time is because all the other top tight ends are struggling as well. So everybody was drafted above him, except maybe Kittle, who obviously missed week 3, but through 2 weeks, Kittle was playing quite well. It's not like Pitts is doing me any harm because Kelsey's not playing well. McBride's been average. Andrews was absolutely terrible again. One target and he didn't catch it this week. So he didn't
get any targets. Isaiah Likely got one target. Andrews didn't get a single one.
Oh, I got what on sleepers.
What's going on with the Ravens tight ends?
Don't know.
Bad week at the office. Yeah. But it does lead me nicely onto another player that I had, and it's Derrick Henry. Yeah. Derrick Henry has carried my redraft team, which has no CMC, no Debo, and no Cooper Kupp. Derrick Henry put 30 points up, 151 yards, 2 TDs, and a reception for 23 yards. Like that massive scores, and
I mean, we
that's
talk
the
about,
reason why.
defenses that can't stop anything.
Oh, it was a turnstile, wasn't it?
The Cowboys are all over the place.
I actually think the Ravens stopped playing because they felt bad. Like they just were.
I can't imagine that for a second.
No, and I know it was more of a joke kind of thing, but the Ravens, like they looked complete control all game, just smashed them, and yeah, considering the Cowboys' defense was supposedly one of the best, they look absolutely appalling, and getting dropped from all of my fantasy teams as well this week.
They're one of those defenses that look like they're going to absolutely shut you down, or as Ian says, they're just going to open up and go, in you come. Like there's no in between. You can't see the Cowboys conceding 21 points. It's either going to be 7 or 41. Like it's going to be something. It's not going to be something in between. Sorry, and I just don't understand it. We talked about it last week. How when they have a bad game, they have a really bad game. Like when it comes to the playoffs and they come up against someone good, like I feel a bit sorry for Dak because he's not the problem at the moment. He's like he's got his money. He's not worth all of that money, but he's not really the problem. But by the time if he's not scoring touchdowns on every drive, he's finding himself behind. And also their running game is not helping him at all. They've got 3 running backs. They're all rubbish. They keep like just randomly picking it, trying to get the running game going. It's like just ditch it and throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb
or trade for someone.
Well, I'm wondering if they're going to bring Dalvin Cook in. Like, it can't be any worse. Bring
Calvin Duck.
Calvin Duck.
Yeah.
Just give him a start. It can't be worse.
No.
And then if it don't work, trade for a running back.
I feel like if they do that, they'll have 4 running backs who are all useless and can't get 5 yards.
Yeah.
So mine was easy this week. I dug around for my Kyler Murray t-shirt last week. I did not have to dig around much to find my Jonathan Taylor shirt. This is hanging nicely in my cupboard. I was like, Jonathan Taylor, what a player. 23 carries, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he added a reception for 25 yards on top of it. So he effectively is our offense at the moment. And as long as we don't play anybody too good, we should be all right. So
yeah.
Just on that, Pete.
I saw a comment on Anthony Richardson. It was like Anthony Richardson can make passes that 90% of other quarterbacks can't make. Yeah. The problem is he can't make passes that 90% of quarterbacks can make.
Yeah. Sums him up.
I was just going to say that. Is he not, obviously you're being a Colts fan, is he not the most frustrating player to watch? Because he made that, the throw before the interception from the 5-yard line was ridiculous. It is an outstanding read. It's an outstanding throw. And then he just throws it straight into the defender's hands. And it's like that is frustrating to watch.
I can't remember who it was, but I heard somebody commenting on it, basically saying, if you're not a Colts fan, the Colts are really fun to watch because you just do not know what's going to happen. It could be sublime or it could be ridiculous every single snap. And it's like if you're looking for a team to watch and go, I don't know what's going to happen here, but it's not going to be boring. The Colts are right up there.
So before we move on to players that we're hating on, we have to mention Juwan Jennings. We can't leave this section without mentioning Juwan Jennings. 11 receptions, 175 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Still wasn't enough to beat the Rams.
No.
What is that?
The one thing I was going to say about the Colts is as bad as we are in several phases of the game, I would say we are comfortably still the second best team in that division because the Titans and the Jags are a dumpster fire. So,
well, the Jags and the Titans are both 0-3, and you're looking at them going, I don't see where they get a win.
No, I am taking the positives from, at least we are the second best team in the division. So that's my positive for it. I was going to, in terms of people who disappointed, I was going to mention Mark Andrews because that's basically 3 weeks on the trot, definitely 2 out of 3 that he's just done absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's not one of them in fantasy. You can't even do anything with him. But Isaiah Likely hasn't done anything the last 2 weeks either. So
no, I mean, is he going on the trade block everywhere? You got to look at shipping him, haven't you? I mean, there'll be someone that deals with, quite a high level of nostalgia. Probably me, to be fair. Who's going to be like, yeah, Andrews is going to, he's going to come back. There'll be people out there that will trade you for Mark Andrews.
He's not old
Come
enough.
Come and talk to me then, Ian.
You got him here, right?
Yeah, Dynasty.
Right.
He's
Should
not
we send
old
it there
enough.
so I can look at trades?
He's not old. He's not old enough for your roster, mate. For a tight end, he's far too young for your roster. The other one I was going to mention before we move on was Ramondre Stevenson. I think we are just what a mess.
Horrendous.
I had, and as you two know, I had them both on the same roster, so that didn't help. That was never going to win that week. So what a disaster.
Do you want to say the rest of that story as well, or should
we can?
The people
listening who are important already know. I lost. Yeah. That's all that matters. I'm 1 and 2. Yeah. I'll fight back next week.
But that is just a microcosm of owning Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah,
it'll be great for 2-3 weeks, and then look like he's never seen a football in his life.
Yeah.
Ian, anyone let you down badly?
Pittman again.
Yeah,
I'm out now.
4 receptions, 36 yards. It is his top scorer of the season though, with 7.6.
Great.
Yeah, that's what's going on there. I mean, you pay him his money.
It's just a bit mad that Alex Pierce is now the wide receiver one there, or seems to be the wide receiver one there.
But a lot of it comes down to the fact that what we've just said. Richardson's so inconsistent. Pittman's still getting the targets. He will continue to get the targets, but it's like whether he can actually hit them or not.
Give it Flacco till the end of the season.
Yeah, Flacco will be in at some point.
Nah, I don't know. Richardson, he is entertaining, and he has that wow factor. It's just that the Will Levis factor I'm naming it, where you just do something that's like, why have you done that? But yeah,
Anthony Richardson is the new Jameis Winston.
That's a fair comment. But he can rush.
I'm not sure he's quite. I'm not even sure he's quite at that level of thrower. It's like his running ability makes up. Jameis Winston was probably completing more than 50% of his passes, and Richardson's barely completing 50% of his passes. So
would you take 30 for 30? Right, from Richardson. Yeah.
That's all right. Plus, I've got him in fantasy, so 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions is okay if he's your fantasy quarterback. It's just,
he's probably rushing for a few as well, isn't he?
Yeah, you can take interceptions aren't what kills you. You can make up for that with yards and everything else. It's the not throwing touchdowns that's the problem, not completing passes.
Yeah.
H, anyone really upset you?
Just Jacobs. I thought with Green Bay down to Malik Willis, who seemingly is fitting really well in that system, I thought Josh Jacobs would be a bit more of a workhorse, and I think the commentator said something on Red Zone that because of the injuries to the Green Bay running backs, they're using wide receivers like sort of screens and stuff like that a little bit more. But Josh Jacobs upset me. Only 43 rushing yards. It also cost me a bet that I had as well because I had him over 50.
Really
and then it was So, and then 1 reception for 5 yards. It's just not a lot from somebody that I expected a big season from, to be honest.
No, maybe Jordan Love coming back, change it.
Yeah,
he's not going to rush like Malik Willis.
When we talk about Malik Willis and Green Bay quarterbacks, I'm at the point that if Malik Willis and Jordan Love couldn't play this week, I reckon that they could pick up one of the three of us and we would still look half decent, because it's just like whoever plays quarterback for the Green Bay Packers has to. There's some sort of NFL rule where they have to look pretty good, like they can't be bad. Yeah. It feels like they can just play anyone in that position now, and it's going to be absolutely fine.
Maybe Bryce Young needs a season-long loan then to the Packers.
That's where.
Sorry, Pete. I went early.
It's all right, mate. It's all right. This is what happens when you're in charge. You're in charge of the thing. Right. Game day. H, you were in charge of game day for us this week. How did it go?
Yeah. So the captain was picked by Ian, and he went with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I basically kind of did two teams, and then as I text the group, it was my WWPD, and that was what would Pete do. And then I went with the double stack of Amon-Ra with Jared Goff. Amon-Ra got 41 points, which was obviously which was a double, so 20 and a half points. Jared Goff 14.56, and then this is where we kind of sort of racked up the points. Derrick Henry 30.4. We went with Cam Akers because he was a real cheap option. He got 9.9. Marvin Harrison Jr., who is looking like the freak of nature that I thought he probably could be. He ended up with 17.4. We went with Brandon Ayuk, and if he could catch, we would be far higher than we were. I'll come on to where we finished as well. That might help. But he got 9.8. Brock Bowers and Trey McBride, I went double tight ends, 7.1 and 5.5, and it landed us 30 out of 202. And that gave us £19.55. So, and 2 weeks on the bounce, we've got some money. So all the pressure in the world goes to you, Pete, for this week.
We're on. What has happened to Brandon Ayuk?
He got his contract and turned into Kadarius Toney.
He can. The annoying thing, he still runs the routes. He's still there. Purdy's hitting him, and he's literally dropping the easy catches.
Yeah, it was mad watching it.
You should have paid him quicker, but does that?
It took that long to pay me. I'm going to start at week 6.
Yeah, we're 3 weeks in now, though.
Yeah, this is what I said though. Like when you set out a pre-season, they don't look good for a good few weeks, and it's clear that whether it is that I don't really know, but there's something wrong with Ayuk because he's not catching a cold.
No, it's a bit of a worry for those of us who have him in various teams. So.
I do just want to quickly say on game day as well. I know I put this into the group. We were 202 out of 202 at the halfway stage, but we only had Cam Akers that had played. And I think like the 3 or 4 around us only had Cam Akers that played at that point as well. But then obviously we had a good 9 o'clock games and managed to rack up to 30.
Yeah, 2 weeks on the trot. So who's captain for this week?
I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. He had a big game yesterday. I know, Pete, you like to double stack as well. So I no doubt Joe Burrow comes in to that. But I think, I think Jamar Chase he looked really good last night. And I feel like he's got a little bit of his mojo. I think the T. Higgins coming back in and the year 1 to year 2 jump of Yoshivash is really helping him as well. Seems to be getting a little bit more space. So let's go with Jamar Chase.
Okay.
I think he's 5,800 if I'm right.
Yeah,
5,800. So hopefully a lot of targets, a lot of points, and a lot of money.
Right, I'll build a team around him and Burrow, and then we'll stick that on social before Sunday, so everyone can see where we're going. So I didn't win any money in week 1. You two have both won since, so the pressure is firmly on.
Oh yeah.
Be ready for a complete collapse in week 4. Therefore, you never let me do it again. Right. Before we move on, if you haven't already signed up to Fantasy Game Day, use the app, use the code JMDFS, and you'll get a free week on us. So and obviously look out for our stuff on social, tag us in it. We want to see what everyone else is getting up to in terms of Fantasy Game Day. If you've had a big win, let us know and we'll give you a shout out on the pod. Moving on quickly to the JMD JTT Dynasty League. we had another 200-point scorer. So we had our third 200-point scorer this week. It was top scorer is Pump Up Those Balls with 201.9 in the Brady division. So that was a big win. The lowest.
Sorry, just as an aside, you've got to change your fantasy team names, haven't you? You can't just go in there with Team Dave.
No, we're slowly getting people to change their names. So a big shout out to everyone who has. But there's still, I'd say there's still half the league or half of the 4 divisions that we're running have still just gone team whatever my username is, which just makes it up. Take a bit of time. Just take an hour out of your week this week. Don't just an hour. Take 10 minutes out of your week. Take 10 minutes out of your week and go through all your sleeper leagues and just change the names.
Yeah.
Even if you change it to the same thing, at least it's a bit more creative than just leaving it with someone else.
Yeah. And if you really want to mess with Pete, change it to Team Pete McManus.
The lowest score this week was also Brady division and was playing Pump Up Those Balls. So
absolute blowout.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, if you're gonna have a low score, you want it against the team who's absolutely ripping it up. So Never Dull in Hull scored 88 points, so they got destroyed by 114, which is nothing less than, like I say, absolute destroying. And a big shout out.
That's another team with Andre Stevenson and Mark Andrews, isn't it?
Yeah. I haven't checked it, but I will go back and check. I was going to say a big shout out, but because of their team name, I'm going to say a little shout out to Team Ginger Mamba 87, who got 193.92 in the Merino division. So they also put on, obviously didn't quite hit the top score, didn't quite hit 200, but still a good week. And the other one I really wanted to mention was in the Brady division, Yeovil Town 49ers beat Team Evdokias 137.6 plays 137.38.
Oh.
0.22 in it at the end of the week. So for the Yeovil Town 49ers on the right side of that. So got a little bit lucky there though. That was very, very close. Onto the cup competition. We are into the semi-finals. So the 4 quarter-final results. HJMD Pod beat Yeovil Town 49ers 172-137. The Last Waltz beat Team Scuba Lee 150-111. So that was one side of the draw. 2 very one-sided games. You two are you're facing up to the Last Waltz in the semi-finals. On the other side of the draw, Ian's Welcome to the Jungle were beaten by Team Pestle 151.4 plays 150.3. So 1.1 in it. Thanks to Jaden Daniels.
Cheers Bengals.
Last night. And the other game was even closer. Team DS Liddy 92 beat owner of Brady 141.4 to 140.6. So there was only 0.8 in that as well. So some really close games. And Team Pestle were playing Team DS Liddy 92 in the other semi-final next week. So good luck to those guys. And
thanks, mate.
Yeah, congrats. I'm not
sure. Good luck to everyone but H.
Can H win this prize?
No, we can't win it.
Why can I not win this? This is right. We're putting it to a vote.
Go to London, even if you do win it. So
see, the thing is,
I'm already going to the game.
If you'd asked me last week, I'd have said, he can win it because I was still in. But now I'm out. No chance.
No, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We might have to find a new one.
From my point of view, I've not cheated in the draft because I'm in a draft with 7 other people. I'm winning the games fairly. I'm not cheating to win it. Why can't I?
That's exactly what a cheat would say, H. So I'm genius.
You can't cheat our league, but
exactly.
I don't know. As one of the organisers, winning the first prize seems a bit out of order.
it seems like the people that I've played, or I've not even won yet, so we can
anyway, let's move on.
once I get smoked this week, we don't need to have this conversation.
Before we so that's that. We'll update that next week. Before we get to the end of the quarter, any waivers you want to highlight? I've not really had a chance to look at waivers yet this week.
Yeah, I've got 2. Have you got any, H?
I've got one very quick one, mine though. I've already mentioned him. Dallas got it. If you Smith might be out, Brown might be out. Dallas got it.
Yeah,
probably going to get targets.
If I could pick Dallas Goedert up and play him instead of Kyle Pitts, would you do that, or would you stick with Kyle Pitts?
No, I'm going Goedert.
So am I.
Yeah.
I just mixed in a bit of selection nightmare there, but we're not at that point yet. I've got a corker for selection nightmare. You're going to love that in a minute.
Oh, no. Is it Mark Andrews versus Isaiah Likely? That is horrific.
Which Ravens tight end is going to be shocking. Go on, Ian. What have you got for us?
Oh, the first one's a dead obvious one. It's Juwan Jennings. In 18 leagues, he might still be available somewhere. Stepped in a big way. Debo and Kittle both missing. 11 receptions, 12 targets, 175 yards, 3 TDs. And Debo's expected to miss multiple weeks.
Kittle's expected back though, isn't he?
He is, yeah. But then Juwan Jennings, he's a good wide receiver 3 for you.
Yeah, definitely.
If I keeps continuing dropping balls, then the volume's going to go to Juwan Jennings instead.
Yeah, agreed.
So if you can get Juwan Jennings, get him in, might be a good flex player. And the other one is Deontay Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree with this one.
He got 14 targets from Andy Dalton on Sunday, 8 receptions, 122 yards and a TD. Adam Thielen went on to IR today with a hamstring injury. That's going to mean loads of time missed, at least 4 weeks. Panthers playing the Bengals next week. We made Terry McLaurin look like Megatron. So load up on Deontay Johnson. And there's also the added spice of Andy Dalton playing against the Bengals. So he's going to be motivated, isn't he? And he's going to spam Deontay Johnson.
Terry Megatron McLaurin.
Yeah.
That's got to be out on socials this week.
Yeah.
The one I was thinking about, I agree with both of those. I mean, Deontay Johnson's a great shout. He was one of those players that I was looking at later in drafts, and it's just not happened for him. But now he's actually got a quarterback, then it suddenly opens up for him again. The one player, it's a bit of a deeper dive, but the one player I did think is looking good and could potentially take over, maybe not in the next couple of weeks, but it could be for later in the season. It's Bucky Irving. He every time he comes in, he's going for like 7 or 8 yards a carry on like 9-10 carries, and I just wonder whether there's a point where they just start moving that over and giving him more and more if he just looks a little bit more explosive than Rachaad White does.
Yeah, Todd Bowles said in his interview that he's going to give Bucky Irving more opportunities because he deserves them, and he's outplaying Rachaad White comfortably, and Rachaad White was quite a good fantasy player last year. So I agree with that one as well. I think it'll slowly move.
While we're on the subject of running backs or rookie running backs, Braylon Allen is a tank.
Yeah.
And
that must be killing you because you love Breece Hall. You're like, no, don't.
Yeah, well,
don't do it.
No, but I do think I think there's enough. I think there's enough there that they could turn into one of those teams that, like, a bit like the Lions last year or the Dolphins last year, that they've got 2 running backs and just take the pressure off Rodgers completely and allow him to, then just pick defenses apart as and when. But that is a dangerous 1-2 punch. That.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, we are running backs though. After watching the Bengals, I think Chase Brown will be taking over the backfield over the coming weeks. Like, I know Zamos scored yesterday, but Chase Brown just looks so much better when he's got the ball in his hands. He's so explosive. I think we're gonna, maybe not this week, but the week after, I think we're gonna start seeing a shift to Chase Brown being RB1. So maybe one to start stashing now.
I can.
Right, selection nightmare time. Who wants to go first?
Go on, you've got a cracker, haven't you?
Yes. Well, it depends what your definition of cracker is. It's a bloody awful decision I need to make because neither of these players are particularly exciting. But in our like our original dynasty league, for want of a better phrase, I've started quite well. Beat Ian this week. I'm 3-0, and not one. I mean, it's a super flex, but I haven't had one decent quarterback performance in 3 weeks. I'm being carried by my running back and wide receiver room. I'm not saving my tight ends. It's my running back, wide receiver, and Brandon Aubrey, who's the best kicker in the world. That is my entire team. I had Tua. Obviously, I've not got Tua anymore. I brought Derek Carr in off the bench. He had an absolute shocker this week, so I missed his 2 good weeks. But I am sticking with Derek Carr because I think I think he'll do a little bit more against the Falcons this week. The problem I've got is my other quarterback spot. Do I stick with Trevor Lawrence?
No.
And they are at the Houston Texans. Or do I flip it over? I can't even say it anymore. Do I flip it over to Justin Fields at the Colts?
Oh.
See? Look at Ian.
It's Fields.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I think the Steelers are going to run all over us this week.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we fixed the 2-week problem against the Bears. I think the Bears just didn't know how to do it, how to make the most of it. And I think this will be Arthur Smith's dreamland situation. He's going to throw Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, and probably Justin Fields all at the same time. And I just feel like Justin Fields, because the rest of my team's doing all right, Justin Fields has got a lower floor in that he'll get 30 or 40 rushing yards probably. He's probably going to throw at least one touchdown. He might run a touchdown in. And Trevor Lawrence looks absolutely lost at the moment.
Also, just on that, there's question marks around Najee Harris and Jalen Warren's fitness. So if they're using an RB3, all of a sudden Justin Fields could be RB1 as well as QB1 at the same time. So
they might start Russell Wilson at quarterback and have Fields at running back.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Play Wildcat.
You don't know who's taking the snap then, do you?
What was that story a few months ago that they were going to use him as punt returner or kickoff returner? Yeah. He's gone from like preseason like joke to like starting quarterback and going to get himself paid about $60 million in March.
I think it just proves though that I know we mentioned this off pod, but it proves that the system with the Bears just wasn't right for it, because he looks a competent quarterback. He's not elite, and I'll take you can take that, but he looks solid. He looks like he's going to win you games, and he's also, there's a couple of times where the Steelers have struggled and he's made plays purely because he's had to. I think it helps that George Pickens looks like a really good player as well this year. With him, it looks like they've got a nice relationship early, but Fields looks like an NFL quarterback that can, win a few games for you just sort of single-handedly. I know he's relying heavily on his defense still, but if you have a team that has an awesome defense like the Steelers do, then use it to your advantage as well.
So we're going Fields, yeah?
Yeah.
I was more asking H because I know how much you hate Trevor Lawrence, Ian. So I meant to caveat that.
I don't hate him. I just think he's overrated. I don't think he's the generational talent that everyone says he is.
Yeah. I mean,
you don't like generational talents generally, though, do you?
I don't know. I like Joe Burrow.
Did anyone ever call him a generational talent? Not sure.
Yeah, I did just then. Timestamp.
Right, Ian, what's yours?
So mine involves DeAndre Swift, which you'll be happy to hear about because
it'll be the other one.
Yeah, well, will it though? Because the other one's Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Oh,
for a flex spot.
This is a grim. You must have something better than these two, mate.
Where are they playing?
can't even remember what league they're in. So I can't tell you who else I've got on my bench. But I'm in a bad way if they're my. I think it's like a 12.
Titans are at the Dolphins on Monday night, the early Monday night game, and
the Bears against the Rams.
See, I would probably lean towards Calvin Ridley myself. I think the Bears may very soon start turning towards Khalil Herbert because I don't think Swift is getting it done enough, in my opinion.
They're not giving him the opportunity. I think at some point they're going to have to say, why don't we actually try running it? We're spending $8 million a year on a running back, and we're giving him less than 20 touches a game.
But I think this is the problem with the Bears, though, is they've almost got too many mouths to feed. It's like the running backs is Herbert, Swift, and Roshan Johnson. You've got a wide receiver room of Allen and Dunes, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. Like, it's to try and get them all on the field and all happy and things like that. I think it's really tough. So I wasn't in on DeAndre Swift at all at the start of the season, and I think the start he's had has been poor. So I would lean more towards Ridley. I know Ridley had a shocker this week because he went 9 yards off one reception. So, I mean, they're both in a pretty bad place, but Ridley did have the 20-point game the week before, and if he gets you, even half of that, he probably outscored Swift.
I'm leaning Ridley as well, and I think it's, to me, that neither of them are great options, but it's simply the fact that one of them could catch a 50-yard pass and take it to the house, and the other one can't. So, what's the chances that DeAndre Swift puts up after all of the 3 weeks we've just had? What's the chances he puts up 20 points? I would say close to zero. Whereas, like H says, Calvin Ridley's done it, and he only needs a couple of big catches and a touchdown to actually get there. So
I also think the Rams D are a really strong D. I mean, they didn't look great this week, or the week before, actually.
I would be tempted to look at all of those options you've just discussed on your waiver wire, though, first. see if you can find because Juwan Jennings or Deontay Johnson or like any of those would be a better option than those two.
Yeah, I think the reason I'm relying on Calvin Ridley is because it's like a 12-team league, and waivers is, it's a bad place to be if you're looking at waivers.
That's the other thing. As long as it's full PPR, if it was half PPR, I'd probably then it swings it back towards DeAndre Swift. But a full PPR, I'd go Calvin Ridley.
Fair enough.
Go on, H. What have you got?
I've got 2 from 3 scenario.
2 from 3.
Yeah. So all wide receivers, and it's in the full PPR dynasty. It's the JMD JTT one. My choice is, and I keep rotating between these 3, and the one that I drop always seems to go off. But I've got DK Metcalf, Amari Cooper, and Zay Flowers.
Ooh.
Like my initial reaction is to not play Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
What are the matchups?
The Ravens are hosting the Bills on Sunday Night Football. The Seahawks are at the Lions. And who was the other one?
Amari Cooper.
The Browns are at the Raiders.
I like Amari Cooper, so I'm between DK and Zay Flowers. And
I like DK purely because of that matchup. The Lions, they're a boom and bust.
I like DK Metcalf. I think they're getting it together, and that's the sort of game that could be a bit of a shootout. Yeah. That's a good game. That's a Monday Night Football worth staying up to watch.
Why are you out on Flowers, Ian?
Well, he didn't have a great week this week, did he?
Not really.
Was it one pass? 3 receptions for 20 yards.
Yeah.
Against the Cowboys D, which we've said are shipping points left, right, and centre. And the D line are taking a red carpet down and saying, right, go on, off you go.
I think that the thing is with that though, that became a Derrick Henry game, didn't it? It became a Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. We're just going to run it. Whereas I don't think they're going to get away with that against the Bills.
No, but I think the Bills are better defensively.
Yeah.
I think this week it could be Andrews or likely.
It's a tight end game.
Volume there. Yeah,
it's Mark Andrews' comeback game. You heard it first.
I think it is. I'll trade you for him, H.
Yeah, you can have him, mate.
you don't need to trade him. You can just have him.
Just have him. Yeah.
Yeah. The Andrews situation. I was out on Andrews this year, and I think he was the only tight end that was left. And I was like, I'm going to have to pick him up, and I'm already regretting it. I was like, I should have just picked up Dallas got it, something like that. But yeah.
Which league is this in?
You said it's the JTT JMD Cup.
No, where I've got Andrews.
Yeah.
No, that's in our Dynasty League. That isn't what we would class as our longest one. It's the shortest Dynasty League where there's about 90 roster spots, so I can't even get a decent tight end on waivers. So
that was my fault. I voted for more roster spots.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
It's good. It's good to have.
It's not.
It'll be a benefit to you over time.
It negates waivers.
No, it doesn't. Give it over.
It does. Yeah, it does.
An extra 5 spots. Behave. There's loads of people on waivers. It's fine.
Go on, have a look. There's no one.
I will have a look. That's the first thing I'm going to do after this. Yeah, I'm with Ian. Drop Zay Flowers.
Cool.
I think the other two are just. I don't know what it is about Zay Flowers. I'm just never a fan of him, so I'm probably slightly biased. But Amari Cooper looked like they'd finally got something going last week. He's the one that I'd be worried about, but I think DK Metcalf's a bit safer.
Yeah. Well, Cooper was the one that I dropped this week, and he went off. The week before I dropped DK Metcalf, he went off, and it's just like, I can't win.
Yeah. Need to trade two of them away and try and get someone better. That's the answer. Right. Before we wrap up, we need to look at our primetime games, which we were 3 of 3 until the Bengals came and ruined it this weekend. That's 3 weeks on the trot that we've made no money whatsoever. So we're not doing very well here. We've got another 4 primetime games this week. So it starts off with Cowboys at Giants on Thursday night. Is there anybody in this room who thinks the Cowboys have got to the level where they're going to struggle to beat the Giants?
No.
I think the X factor of CD is probably a huge difference there. I mean, Malik Neighbors is on fire. Yeah. No, I can't see it not being the Cowboys. It's hard not to.
Cowboys, we both agree on that. Sunday night football's a bit harder. Bills at Ravens.
The way the Bills are playing, I'm going Bills. I think they're really rocking at the minute. They played amazing last night. I really enjoyed watching them last night.
I'm going to go the other way.
Are you on Ravens?
Yeah, Ravens at home. I think they've got enough.
I can see it. This one's a toss up, but for me, I'm going the way the Bills played last week. I'm going them, but they have to try and stop the truck now, don't they?
I'm leaning Ravens as well, and I don't really know why, because it wouldn't surprise me at all if they just blew a 10-point fourth quarter lead as they tend to do. But I do think they'll work. They seem to be working things out a little bit, the Ravens, and working out how to use Derrick Henry. And as I've just declared it, the Mark Andrews comeback game, I think we'll go with the Ravens. We could be wrong. Titans at Dolphins. What a terrible game that is on Monday Night Football. How did the Titans get into prime time? The Colts are never in prime time.
Yeah, you don't want your team in prime time.
How
as a UK fan, you don't want it.
I quite like especially Thursday night football. I love getting up for Thursday night football, just sitting there. It's the only time it's quiet in the house. just peace and quiet for like 4 straight hours. No, don't get interrupted. No one says anything. Occasionally, the dog comes in and lies next to me. I'm like, this is my perfect scenario. It's my favorite 3 hours of the week. Even if it is Jets Patriots. Right, I'm going Dolphins. I think they'll have enough to beat the Titans because the Titans are crap. So.
Yeah, I think I've got to go Dolphins as well.
Okay.
I mean,
H is in the middle.
It won't be pretty. I think
No.
the Dolphins will win it.
H is having a coughing fit, and it doesn't matter anyway because we've already got 2 votes for the Dolphins.
I would have gone Dolphins anyway. I think Tyler Huntley coming in this week, by the looks of things, I think that probably plays a little bit of a bigger part. Titans D is good, but not that good to stop Hill, Waddle, and Johnny Smith. So I have to throw Johnny in there.
Seahawks at Lions.
Lions.
I think this is a really good game.
I fancy the Seahawks, so I'm going to put that out there and then leave you to make a decision that inevitably costs the charity money at the end of the week, and we can all blame you.
All that money that we've won from already.
I'll stick with the fact that I really like the Lions. And they're playing in those amazing black kits. I don't know if you've seen that announcement, but they're playing in those.
Oh, in that case, yeah, I'm all in on the Lions.
Yeah, it's the Lions all day, yeah.
Pete's definitely buying a Jameer Gibbs shirt after this.
No one's beating the Lions if they're wearing that uniform. Right.
Yeah.
We've run over slightly, so I will wrap it up unless you've got anything you want to quickly point out. No?
Nope.
Good.
Nope.
Right. Thanks for listening. As always, enjoy week 4. We will see you next week. Follow us on Facebook, X, Insta, YouTube, at JMD Pod, at JMD Podcast on TikTok. Like and subscribe our YouTube page. Thanks for listening, as always. And like I say, speak to you next week.